Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 23rd, 2025 at approximately 9 o'clock p.m. PST. Now, I have made it my life's journey to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spirit. Well, I don't know like that. I got something going on that's just annoying. Okay, we just what the heck? Don't mind me, I'm just having computer hiccups. I have no idea why. So well, we seem to have a problem here, guys. So bear with me. Okay, now I know what the problem was. Okay. Anyway, that started off annoying. This is why Frank is in and why Storm is in the background to keep tech running. Unfortunately, he can't do a thing when I've got too many windows open. That said, we'll go back to the normal idea here, and hopefully I didn't dump that. No, I'm still here. Good. Now, my apologies for that. Welcome to my world in tech. Now, as I said, I built myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies that I guide virtually every decision I make by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people with varying degrees of success, depending on their own personal efforts. Now, before we get into things, okay, I do want to tip my hat to Storm, who is our primary moderator, usually hiding in the background to try and keep things running properly. And rest assured, technologically speaking, that can be a challenge with me. Okay, he is also the one that removes problem children before they become a problem. And to be to be direct about it, there have been some problems that have shown up that have been, at least for the moment, and I will put it this way, at least for tonight specifically, they have been rectified and circumvented. From what I gather, there is a storm warning over top of Storm's place, and therefore we had to take steps just in case things collapse. Now, secondly, is we tip our hat to Ellie Moon, who is the primary moderator in the chat room. Okay, she's the one that manages to keep things running as far as communication, as far as conversation in the chat room goes, if it stalls. Much more importantly, she is probably the only person that really goes way out of her way to make sure my health is taken care of. And that includes out of my way, including me. Because honestly, I disregard most of mine. But that said, tonight we are going to be talking about something real simple: how to earn money with a credit card. And I know that sounds absolutely bizarre. But before we touch down on that, I'm just going up to the top here. We have Operation. You are in the chat room with the gold. Hopefully things are going well. And Chad, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I know your life has been hectic as all get out lately, but you've been hanging around here a lot more recently. And I do like seeing you here. Now, whoop, I cannot read what I've got to read. Get that out of the way. Okay. Now, we are starting to climb. Okay. And I know things are going to change, but let's get down to the brass tacks of it. Everybody knows. Boy, there's a song that goes with that. I forget what the song is, but doesn't matter. And virtually everybody knows credit cards, we're told, are a bad idea They cost you money because of insurance and what have you. Well, I'm going to tell you something. There's a neat little thing here. A credit card, I discovered this. I laid it out for a financial advisor, and they looked at me and went, "How did you come up with this? We aren't taught this. We don't piece it together." Okay, hear me out on this and understand when I'm talking about earning money, I am not talking about earning thousands of dollars. These geniuses that get on and go, "Oh, invest in this because you'll make $1,000 a day, guaranteed." I can pretty much guarantee, unless you're already a multi-millionaire, you ain't going to make $1,000 a day. Okay, but now I'm going to have to put numbers out there that are not, if you will, financially accurate. Okay, and the reason for that, I don't do the financial math in my head anymore. Okay, but if you take a look, you put an investment in, okay, and they tell you, oh, the bank will tell you, you invest in this item, and you'll make 4 or 5% return. This is really good return. What they don't tell you is that they're making 15 to 20. So giving you 5%, they're still up double what you're making. I cannot prove this. I am not a financial advisor, but follow the logic. Now, you can only generate an income with the credit card if you are currently below credit limit. Okay, that's the only way this works. If you're over credit limit, priority one, get under limit. And there's a lot of ways to do that, and we'll get to that at another time. But here's how it works. If you've got $100 in your hand or in your bank, I don't care, and $100 clear on your credit card where you actually have the money to go and pay that, and where you can actually charge $100 to the credit card. Okay, if you've got that, okay, if you have that, here's how it works. You go to the grocery store, and we'll stick with $100 for groceries. Okay, now your credit card is going to charge you, and we'll just go with 20%. Okay, but we're talking 20%. We'll call it 24. It's easier. Okay, 24% per year. This means 2% per month you're being charged. Okay, now to put that in perspective, if you're making if you're being charged $24 a year, okay, and you're being at $2 a month, you go to the grocery store. Now, the $100 is in the bank. Okay, it's already in the bank. You can certainly take that $100 from the bank and buy your $100 worth of groceries. But here's the kicker. If you go to the grocery store with a credit card that's got $100 limit on it. Now, understand something. This is not financial advice. This is not, you should do this. This is what I personally do. Okay, this is the tool I do that I work with. Go to the grocery store. You take that $100 and the $100 clearance you've got on the credit card. Buy your groceries with it. Yes, I just said go into debt. Borrow $100 from the credit card to pay for your groceries, and you got the money sitting in the bank. Doesn't make a lot of logical sense if you think about it too long. But your credit card company is most of the credit card companies give you 3 weeks before they charge you interest. With this said, you buy your $100 groceries with the credit card. $100 sitting in the bank, $100 you now own. But that $100 in the bank is earning you a tiny little bit of interest on your money. Now, you're lucky if you're making 1%. Okay, you really are. This is why I say we are not talking about making a lot of money. We're talking about making pennies. Okay, but you got the $100 sitting in the account. Now, 3 weeks down the road, the credit card company is going to charge you interest on what you borrowed from them. However, at the 2-week mark, turn around and pay that grocery bill entirely. Okay, that $100 you spent, pay it off. You have now made 2 weeks interest on the credit card's money, on the credit card company's money. You borrowed from them, you didn't pay a nickel in interest, and you earned money on your money. You earned a little bit of interest on your money in your bank account. This is what I mean by you're generating an income with a credit card. Now, absolutely, guys, if you have a question or if that didn't make sense, absolutely ask. Put the question in the chat room in all caps if you'd be kind enough, because that way I can actually see the thing. Okay. Now, I just want to make sure. What do we got here? Okay. That would be first and foremost. Now, the hard part about this is how do you keep track of it? Well, that's the easy part. Okay. Get that out of my way. I've shown you this thing. This is what I wanted. You don't need that. I'm just trying to find my calendar here. Now, I'm still a dinosaur. Some of you guys remember this. Okay. This is a tabletop calendar. Okay. I mark down when I buy things and what have you on an external form. I don't bother with it I don't have it automatically tracked. I do it myself because when I spend that money on the credit card, 2 weeks from the time I spent it, I turn around and go, I'm paying that bill off. So I'm generating a small amount. Oh, LA goes, and this is accurate. LA goes, you get another bonus, Keith. Your credit score will rise as well. And you do have things like road assistance and other little perks besides. So yeah, there's all kinds of things. You end up with all kinds of bonuses. And the nice part about it is you're using the credit card they put out to you to say, hey, we'll give you this temptation. You buy all your stuff on credit and you can pay it off in about 800 years. But you can pay it off. We'll happily take your interest. Now, that said, okay, there's a lot of things that we can do with credit cards. And like I said, I am doing these. That's why I talk about this is what I'm doing. Okay, you don't have to believe me. Run your own numbers. Okay, but again, if you spend the credit money from the credit card, even with money in the bank, you buy and spend it on the credit card, you got 3 weeks, roughly, okay, before they charge you interest. That's why every time you buy something, mark it down, and 2 weeks later, pay it off. Okay, it's not going to make you a lot of money. But I don't know about you, but my dad used to say something real succinct. Okay, my dad was pretty cut and dry. Take care of the pennies, and the dollars will take care of themselves. Now, if you think about it, if you're making $2 a month, that if you're earning $2, okay, over the course of a year, you're only making $24. I agree. I'm talking pocket change. But would you rather earn pocket change or spend dollars? Okay, you've got the choice. So as I said before, the choice is yours. choose wisely. Now, I will tell you, and I'm in the middle of writing an article about it, okay, because this idea that we are all programmed into, I got to get it right now, okay? It's a great philosophy for the credit card company. It's kind of like that other thing. Have you ever heard of something called the lottery? You know, go and buy this ticket because you can win it big on the lottery. And they make all this hype. I don't know about you. I've never made it big on the lottery. If I ever do win the lottery, it's literally going to be because I found the winning ticket. But with a credit card, if you handle it that way, there's a lot of things that can happen. But you've got to have the self-control to make it work. And by the way, all the prayers or wishful thinking or positive affirmations in the world isn't going to affect your money. Okay, it really isn't. Although acting on the little tips and the little tricks that are proven effective, okay, that will work. And again, don't take my word for it. Do your own calculations. If you pay your credit card off, and I mean every purchase, okay, 2 weeks after you make it, like today, for instance, I spent $20, okay, on the credit card. Now the money's sitting in the bank, but on the, what are we? We are on the 23rd right now, so we'd be looking at the 7th of July. I'll be putting that $20 onto the credit card. That will pay the bill off that I just incurred today, leaving me with that money sitting in the bank until I make that payment. And it's working for me. This is a neat little bonus here. If you're told, buy it on credit, you can have it right now. You can, but at what cost? Okay. The only time that I've ever looked at something, well, no, correction. I used to buy everything on payment plans or on rent to own. I went down the whole 9 yards, guys. And I'm telling you, it's a bad road. Okay, if you had any idea of the stress I'm under right now in its entirety, in its complexity, you'd understand I am simply doing one thing. I've made all these mistakes. I would love for you to learn from those mistakes. Okay, let me be the teacher from that standpoint. Oh, there we are. LA goes, we gathered enough money from some of those little bonuses to make a little trip with a discount. Nice place to stay, too. We had the money in the first place, and we'll pay for it. But the original cost was, there we are, much higher. And that's the whole kicker. Okay, when you start working the system that is put in place that we are taught is, you're taught, if you're struggling with finances, you're taught it's all geared towards the bigwigs making money. You know why they make money? They figured out how to capitalize on it, and they weren't telling you. Okay, realistically, these guys, they loan you money, you give them a whole pile of money. Okay, they invest it, they make a staggering amount of money, and they give you a tippance. Okay, just a tiny bit and say, here you go. Why, thank you very much. See, your investment paid off. You got $5. I got 500. I'm thinking this is a good trade-off. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against the credit card companies. If I had the money, I would absolutely do something to that effect with a massive difference. A massive difference. Okay, but when you've got a credit card in your hand, okay, now let's assume for half a moment that your credit card has a balance on it. So I was looking at how do you earn money with a credit card? Well, it's also a question of how do you stop paying a fortune? Okay, and here's how you do it. You've gone and bought, like, for instance, I spent $20. Oh, I took myself out to lunch, which really wasn't that far of a trip. I could have stayed out to lunch at home. But I took that $20 and I spent it. Now, on July 7th, 2 weeks down the road, I pay off, instead of just the $20, I pay off 40. Okay, which means I pay off what I put and what I spent, and I'm paying some of my balance. Clement, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are actually in with the silver today. You know, the nice part about it is by paying a little, if you've got a balance on your credit card already, absolutely critical, get it cleared. Okay, and we are going to discuss that as well, because this idea that we've got to go in and go through the store normal routine, I'm now in debt and my only option is go bankrupt so I can get out from under it. I'm telling you, that ain't the way you got to do it. I talked to a gentleman one day, and he was very clear cut about it. He dug himself into a crater, and it took him a decade to dig himself out, but he never went bankrupt. Okay, I made the mistake that many of you have. Okay, I'm telling you, bankruptcy benefits one person, or one group is more to the point. It benefits the bankruptcy trustee, because I'll tell you from practical experience. Okay, and I mean really good company on this one. Okay, I went bankrupt twice, never again. Because the only person that benefits, the only group, is the bankruptcy trustee with a credit card. Okay, now you've got to stay on top of things. You've got to ask questions and absolutely watch what's going on. Okay, now if it weren't for my doing that, I would have been continued to be strangled by something I didn't know I had. So I want to suggest something else with the credit card. Phone your credit card company, whichever one it is. I don't care. They all operate essentially the same way. Make sure that you're not paying for something that you're not utilizing. Okay, because I'll tell you, they won't warn you if you put it on there and you don't recall putting it on there. Maybe you've had your credit card like I've had mine for decades. Maybe you put something on there you forgot about. Contact them. I wouldn't necessarily recommend tonight because it's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, but contact them, go back over your agreement. But as long as your credit card has room on it, okay, start using it by paying for things and paying them off right away. Don't wait for the bill to come due. My bill isn't due until the 21st, so I can pay it on the 17th. You can. You absolutely can. But you will be in much better shape if you pay it off at the 2-week mark from the time you incur a debt. Okay, this is just something that we have to realize. If you keep doing things the way you've been doing them, they're going to keep happening the way they've been happening. I'm thinking, I know in my world, this isn't a good thing. Now, that said, I will tell you, the credit card companies, they want you to stay in debt. They absolutely do. But they would rather take a small temporary hit to their income than have you fold the entire card up and hand it back to them. Besides that, if you think in terms of credit cards, line of credit, a lease loan, whatever it is, you asked for a credit for a loan. In good faith, they gave you the loan. Okay, so now you go bankrupt. What you're doing is saying, I asked you in good faith. You said, yeah, no doubt. I'm I'm reneging on my agreement, on my word. I have a problem with this, by the way, for me personally. You do what you will. But you close the account, they lose all of that money and all of the potential future money. They desire you to keep your card active, and they'll do what they can to make it happen, especially if you're adamant, this is what I'm doing. Either this changes or I close the card. Rest assured, in most cases, they will turn around and go, let's see if we can make a deal. Kind of like Bob Barker on The Price is Right. I think that's what it was. But we are talking 40 years ago, so pardon me if my memory's a little hazy. But with a credit card, buy on the credit card and pay that bill off. And if it means you buy every day on the credit card, and starting at the 2-week mark, you pay off every day a little more on the credit card. Do it that way. Little tedious, yes. Very profitable, absolutely. And I cannot stress that enough. To be frank, well, I'm not going to be frank, but in my case, this is what I'm doing, and this is why, for the first time in over 2 years, my credit card is below limit. Okay, it's now starting to decline below that limit. I'm quite content with it. Okay, and I'm going to continue doing that. But if you use the credit card and then pay it off, your money is sitting in your bank account making you money instead of making them money. Okay, and you're paying the bill before they charge you interest, which means, by the way, like if you buy something on credit and you've got 2 years to pay it off, this is fantastic. Because if you're making payments for 2 years, you're paying usually double what you would have paid. That's your call. If you like giving money away, I'll tell you what. If you really are intending giving money away, just contact me. I'll give you my bank account number, or you can go to the buymeacoffee.com, right, /InnerVoiceJ, and put all the excess money you've got into that account. I got no problem with it. I've always been quite open about the fact if somebody's giving me money, I'll take it. Because the reality is, I don't actually have a lot of use for the money except to help to make this world a better place. Okay, catch is I want to keep a roof over my head. Okay, but with a credit card, if you're paying it off within 2 weeks of making that payment, of making that purchase, you're earning 2 weeks interest. Now, that said, and I'm not going to do the calculation because every time I do that, my brain goes on hold. Okay, so you get to do the brain work for yourself. But understand, if you're paying the credit card off before they charge you interest, you're earning, because your bank account, in all likelihood, is earning interest on a daily basis. Probably not being paid except but once a month. But you're earning interest. This is not a bad thing in my eyes. Okay, I know I like the idea because I personally like making money for doing nothing. Okay. Well, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, the neat part about this is that when I'm talking about a credit card, your line of credit works the same way. Okay, if you've got a line of credit, now understand, if you've got a line of credit, there are some other extenuating circumstances you got to realize is that money is going to be taken back right off the bat. Whoa. I will agree with you. Credit can get people in a real pickle. But, okay, I will tell you this. Having a car can get people in a real pickle. Having a gun can. Having $1 in your pocket can. The problem is not the credit. The problem is people are not taught how to work with it. I mean, until I came along, did any of you ever hear somebody tell you you can earn money with a credit card? You can generate an income with it. Not you can go belly up and lose your entire property with it. Okay. Now, do not get me wrong. If you're not comfortable with credit cards, do not get one. I'm telling you, people are told you gotta have a credit card to survive in this world. No, you don't. But thanks for playing. Storm, how you doing? Hopefully things are going well. We had a little bit of a hiccup at the front of the show, but I managed to get it sorted out on my end because I had too many windows open. Problem solved. I shut the windows. But the reality is, we are all taught, go into debt, get a credit card, buy the stuff you really want right now. And dang the consequences, you can pay it off over time. You absolutely can. This has got to be one of the dumbest things people are taught. Blue, how you doing? You are actually in, what do we got here? Now, I gotta go up and find out. All the way back up. We had Operation with the gold. We had, who was it here? Operation came in gold. Then we had Clement. Clement came in with the silver. Wu is in with the bronze. And this means that, where are we here? Wu came in with the Wu, you are in with the bronze. Blue, you are in with honorable mention. Bob, how you doing? Bob Thor has just joined us. He goes, I pay everything with mine and get cash back, 1 to 3%. I pay the balance every month before it's due. Bob, you're one of those wonderful people that are literally already ahead of the game. Very happy for you, Bob. And I tell you, you learned obviously before I did, because I dug myself a crater and a half. I'm just trying to make certain you guys don't go down the same path that I did. Now, clearly, Bob, you're not going to. Okay. But what we've got is to say we've got an opportunity here. Okay. Where you can take your money, however you got to where you are, do not worry about it. Okay. It's one of these things. Jeff, how you doing? Jeff Garvey has just joined us. We have been taught, if you got to pay attention to your past and look to the past. It's a cute thought. How about if we don't? Okay. I've spent my lifetime looking out the back window, but I'm going to put this in real simple picture. You're driving your car. Now, you got one of two options. You can look out the front window. Actually, you got three. You can look out the side windows, or you can look out the back window. Which one are you going to concentrate on while you're aiming to move forward? Okay, I'm telling you, it's a bad idea to stare out the back window while your foot's on the gas. Unless you happen to be going backwards. If you're backing up, absolutely look that direction. But credit cards themselves are a gold mine for the people that have them. Okay, now I'm not going to tell you how to invest your money, how credit works. I know how I've been told. I know what I operate on. But I will tell you, follow the logic. If you got the cash in the bank and the room on the credit card, use the credit card. 2 weeks later, a week before the interest gets applied, pay off whatever the bill was that you just incurred. And this means you're paying off 7 or 8 different payments, 7 or 8 days in a row because you're using a credit card that often. Okay, absolutely do so. It may be tedious, but if you want to get to the mall and you're walking, do you not go one step at a time? I mean, let's see a show of hands. How many people can teleport and physically relocate to the local mall or to the local coffee shop? I'll tell you, if you can, you don't need to worry about gas prices anymore. Now, the reality of it is this. I look at what I'm doing. I am my own guinea pig. I am the one that I'm testing these philosophies on. If they work for me, money doesn't care who you are, doesn't care who you vote for, doesn't care who you sleep with, what color you are, what gender you are. Money could care less, I think. But it will do exactly what it does. Okay, so if money works for me, yeah, operation goes, only if I found a natural wormhole. Exactly. And thus far, I'm not having a lot of luck with that. Of course, in all fairness, I don't really require a wormhole. I don't leave my house much. Okay, which is why this trip on August 11th is such a big deal from my end. Okay, well, sort of. The real big deal is what happens in what happens down in Utah when I get there. Because I'm going down there to see my fiance, but I'm going down there to bring back my wife. Okay, now, credit cards are an absolute goldmine for every single person that owns one, if you use them properly. Okay, the reality of it is you've got to use the credit card properly, meaning when you spend even $1 on it, okay, take that dollar, pay it off 2 weeks down the road as an absolute concrete, that's happening. But at your earliest possible opportunity, not your convenience. Money doesn't care if it's convenient. It's going to do what it's going to do. Okay. Oh, fantastic, Bob. Thank you for letting me know. You know, I always question what the post office is going to do, but I do appreciate you letting me know it arrived. I've got only seven races left to finish expanding for the second edition. Okay, but the credit card, you can start generating money, well, today. Okay, don't worry how deep you've gotten yourself. Okay, like I said, this only works if you're below limit. Okay, so that's where we have to start. Now, let me ask you this, guys, and I'd love a show of hands or a response in the chat room, because I'm not going to get a response on the phone. But like I said, I'm no financial advisor. I simply relay what I'm doing that's working for me. Okay, but who here knows how to turn around and get yourself out of debt, out of credit card debt, so you can get back on the upswing? And would you like me to cover that on a future show? The idea here is very simple. Weekends, we're dealing with aliens. And by the way, they got just as many problems as we got, if not more. Okay. But we're also dealing with finances and, finances, self-help, you name it, we're dealing with what we can. Do not ask me where I get all the information from. I'm still working on that. But we can tangle with with how to get debt free. But you're going to use your money. I'll give you the tools. You're going to use your money. You're going to put your effort into it. Okay. Rest assured, if I had the money, would I be paying people's credit off without showing them how to do it? Not a prayer. Let's face it. There's this neat little idea. You've heard it said, teach a man to fish, feed a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for life. I give you money for an instant. Problem solved momentarily, but I'll virtually guarantee you'll dig yourself right back in. However, I give you the tools, or anybody gives you the tools, to get out of debt and shows you in a functional fashion why that works. You yourself, you yourself have the ability at that point to change what's going on in your life. Now, it's working for me. This is why my office right now, I've got all kinds of neat little things going on. Not the least of which is this. See, I even keep my painting figures organized at this point, which is so much better than I was doing. Tell me. That didn't work all that well. Turns out I actually need 2 hands. But when we're talking money, money doesn't care how you feel. You can be sick as a dog, in the hospital, up to your eyeballs in casts. Money still works like money. And if you got a hangover, hey, guess what? Your bank, instead of the bank that has the money, the building, doesn't care whether you're feeling good. It's still going to do what it's doing. A credit card is a godsend if you learn to use it correctly. Now, in order to make this trip down to Utah, I've had to put a chunk of money onto my chunk of expenses onto my credit card that I'm not going to be able to pay off in 2 weeks. I'm just not, unless I all of a sudden win the lottery or sell 1,000 books. That'd do it. Because you think about it. I sell 1,000 books. If I'm making $5 profit on each, and that's on the big ones, if I sell 1,000 books that I make $5 profit on each one, I brought 5,000 in. I can pay off my debt. But the reality of it is this. You probably have a credit card. Most of you do, some of you don't. If you don't have one and you're working fine without it, keep it that way. I will tell you it's less likely for you to go into debt with a credit card if you don't own one. As a matter of fact, if you don't own one, you probably have no real prayer going into debt with one. But it is up to you. I'm not the one to tell you should get a credit card. I'm not here to say, hey, here's a credit card company, give them your money. I will tell you, I accept donations all the time. If somebody offers to buy me dinner, like Flint, it's like, absolutely. Go right ahead. I'd love to. I'd love to have it paid for. When the waitress comes up to me at the restaurant and goes, would you like your bill? My immediate reaction is, no, thanks. Needless to say, I pay it anyway. But a credit card, if you are paying it off on the second week, 2 weeks after you spend even a nickel on it, pay that nickel off. If you're overpaying your credit card, that's not a problem. They don't mind. They'll hang on to your money. They'll earn credit card. They'll earn interest on your money. Why shouldn't you be earning interest on theirs? One of the biggest things we have to realize in this world is you're the one that has control over your future. The media, the government, the banks, none of them control what you do. Yes, they influence what you do. Absolutely they do. NLA, thank you so much for that. Just been warned, we're down to the 15-minute mark. Where is what did I do with it? Is it here? I'm so confused. Nope, that's not it. Well, of course I don't have what I'm looking for. Why would that be any different than the rest of the days? There. Don't mind me, I'm just a little confused. There we are. Just making a note for myself. Doing my level best to get ahead of the curve so I know exactly what we're working on a daily basis. The fact of the matter is, if you're going to change your life for the better, you got to get off your tail feathers and make it happen. Starting today, right now, I encourage you to make a commitment to yourself. Starting right this moment, if you buy anything on credit, make certain you got the money in the bank to do it. Okay. Then you buy the item on credit. 2 weeks down the road, and absolutely write it on your calendar. Okay. 2 weeks down the road, you pay that bill off. If you already owe on your credit card, if it's already a balance above zero, pay a little more than what you spent. Okay. It's time to put the money in your pocket instead of in the banks or the investment company or the government. It's time for you to reclaim power over your life. And if we spread this message that we can, working together, make this a better world for virtually everybody, I'm telling you, your stress level is going to drop. And, like I said, if you're one of these people that prays every day, absolutely pray to your God, have all the positive affirmations that you desire, talk about all the good things you'd like, but get your tail feathers off the couch. Unglue your butt from the TV or your eyeball from the TV, whichever you want to look at it. I will tell you, if you're sitting on the TV, odds are it's broken. Unless you have one back from the Middle Ages when I was born. But it's time to get off your tail feathers and make it happen. A credit card is a godsend if you have one. If you don't have one and it's working fine, you're working fine, you don't require it. Clearly, you don't require it. And you do have that added advantage that you aren't tempted to use a credit card because, well, it doesn't exist. Okay. And I will tell you, a credit rating is a great thing to gauge what you're doing by, but it's pointless if you're not buying a big ticket item. Okay. It really is pointless. You don't have to have a credit rating to live. You have to have a credit rating to buy something more than what you can actually afford right this moment. Now, in the case of a new car or of a house, I'm telling you, the odds are you don't have the cash. Okay, unless you do what I did. My first marriage, my wife at the time really wanted a Mustang. Okay, so I bought her a Mustang for Christmas. I'm not wealthy. I took into consideration two factors. One, she didn't have a driver's license. And two, I didn't have the money. So I bought her a 1967 fresh off the mint, fresh off the line Mustang convertible. It was about 1.5 inches long. Okay. But it was a Mustang. The reality is it depends on how you look at life as to how you're going to deal with things. Now, one of the biggest things we got to realize with a credit card is they are a godsend if you use them right. They are a nightmare and a death sentence, financially speaking, if you don't. Okay, it's that simple. So, what say starting today? Okay, today, right now, what say we turn around and start generating an income so that you can have your money in your bank account making you interest. Now, the bank's going to take the money you got in the bank account anyway and invest it and make better money than they're paying you. But so be it. They're keeping your money safe. Okay, Credit card companies are making money on your money every time you buy something and leave it on the line. They're utilizing that for them to generate a staggering amount of money. Okay. Now, you think about it. If you're paying only 10% on the balance, okay, at at $10,000 credit limit, if you're paying 10%, okay, they're making $100 off of your money. Now, bear in mind, they've got, 800 million people out there that they're making $100 off of every year. Do you think they're short of money? I got news for you. Okay, it doesn't work that poorly. But what we've got to start realizing is you desire to get your life turned around? Absolutely. Okay, this is Monday, and this is where I finally made a decision. It's weird. I made a decision about time. Mondays, we are going to focus on finances, on getting your money back in your pocket so that you can work with it, so that you've got something down the road. Do not get into the mess I'm in. I'm 62. I got just about jack to work with. Okay, I finally figured it out now. Now, I will tell you, if you're younger than I am, okay, and you start doing this, you will end up in better shape. Okay, way better shape than I am. And talk to your financial advisor. I'm not going to do your financial math for you. Sorry, guys. I forgot how to do that a long time ago. Okay, but there are calculators that you can plug the things into on the internet. Or you can get a calculator or a computer, whatever you want to use. Do your own calculations. But I'm telling you, you start using these tools now, and when you're my age, you won't have to be doing this. Okay, you'll actually be able to live instead of exist. Okay, but a credit card, many of you have been told, stay out of credit cards because they're dangerous. They are dangerous. Okay, so is a gun, so is a car. Heck, so is a bottle of beer. Okay, how many people have got themselves into way more trouble with a bottle of beer than they ever did with a bank card? Okay, I mean, I know people that went out on the town, got absolutely blitzed, and when they woke up in the morning, found out they were married. I'm going down to Utah with the intention of coming back with a wife. I'm not going looking for one. I know where she's sitting. So, presuming she says yes, or more to the point, presuming she says I do, I'm bringing her back as my wife. Okay, this is not a calculated risk. This is a premeditated assessment. Your finances, that credit card that you already possess or the one you're considering, okay, absolutely can be an absolute godsend. But if you follow the teachings that everybody almost out there is telling you, and you do exactly what virtually everybody tells you, that credit card will drive you into the ground. I'm telling you, if you do what I'm telling you, and this isn't a question of do what I tell you, do what I say. I'm telling you, this is what I'm doing. This is actually working for me. And if it can work for me, it's money. It doesn't care who you are. It'll work for you. Okay? Doesn't matter who you talk to. If you take standard mathematics, 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. No matter who you are. You don't even have to have all your fingers for 2 plus 2 to equal 4. Money works the same way. But you're the one that's going to have to put the effort into it. Okay? I cannot stress that enough. But I can tell you this. If you're not content with the way your world is going right now, not doing anything is not going to change your world. It's just not. Okay? One of the best things that we can find that we can do in this world for us, and you can start this now. Okay? And again, talk to me if you require clarification. But I'm thinking starting immediately. I was thinking about it. I'm trying to get things organized. I've got to leave things wide enough open that we can flip around and pop in various topics. So I'm just going to be looking at the financial side, the materialistic side of things on Mondays. Aliens and alien crafts and that sort of thing, we're going to take a look at on the weekends. And by the way, guys, before you jump down the wrong rabbit hole, we are not talking about alien invasion and the end of the world. Not going to happen. Okay. My world ended yesterday. Okay. Well, in all fairness, it keeps ending. Every time a moment goes by, your old world is over. Okay. Now, with this in mind, I'm just looking at the clock here because I'm actually doing my best to do that. LA and Storm keep things really on top for me. But my clock says we just went under the 5. That said, I do want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with us today. Where are we here? Tomorrow, we are going to be looking at societal law. How does it apply to you? Okay, we're going to look at that tomorrow. I really want to say thank you so very much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Okay, I do look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.